Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. I have a great video I've put together for you guys today. It's definitely one of those videos that by the end of it, you're going to feel so refreshed, just so uh, on point with your decision making, especially in the precious metals world. There's a lot of different avenues, a lot of different ways you can invest your money in the world, and that's regardless of how severe the situation is right now. But throwing the events of a global pandemic, a U.S. presidential election, $1 trillion stimulus packages right around the corner, it can definitely make things a little bit harder to decide on. This video by the end will make sure you guys know which path you want to take. Goldman Sachs, Citibank, some of the most respected, richest companies and people in the investing world saying that silver is going to explode. Silver price is set to soar. And this is good stuff because these people don't just come out of left field and just throw a claim out and just hope it sticks. They have concrete evidence. They have reasoning why, and their track record is pretty good. So I have a couple of articles that I want to talk about. This first one's very good. If you didn't see my video earlier today, you should probably watch that as well. There's three main factors that is going to put silver up in the clouds, and two of these are talked about in this video right here. And it's interesting because there's so many different angles that's going to be affecting precious metals, and not one of them is all three of them or more. There's a lot more. All depend upon only a couple different options. It's not like, oh, well, this would have to happen and this would have to happen. All this stuff that's making, or that will give silver its explosive properties are more than likely going to happen and already starting to happen. So it's not like all the stars have to align. The stars are already aligning, right? The perfect storm is here. Now we're starting to see the effects of this, from higher premiums, from silver shortages, from apps like Robinhood. Silver investment demand nearly triples during the year of a pandemic. Stuff like that. That's concrete evidence. That's stuff that you can't make up. So, to say the least, the link to these articles will be in the description. Make sure you smash the like button, and you want to be subscribed, because I will give you the news, the inside scoop on a daily basis, what silver prices are doing and what you should do about it. So silver, or Citi forecast, silver will hit $40 an ounce within the next 12 months. And if you didn't see my video yesterday, see, every single day I'm giving you guys the stuff you need to know about and stuff you need to hear. Yesterday I made a video, Citibank calling for 605% increase of silver prices, putting it above $100. And they have, well, in the video, if you watch it, I'll tell you their reasoning. Right now they're saying $40 within the next 12 months, and they have, and that's a lot more realistic than $100, but they have a time frame. Goldman Sachs has thrown some petrol on the silver fire, recommending investors to dump the US dollar and buy the metal instead. The reasons: one, a Democratic clean sweep at the 3rd November election, followed by massive spending programs that will hit the US dollar's value, and two, a huge surge in solar panel demand for silver. Now, both of these we've talked about in the past. There's obviously several more reasons that could put silver in a much more explosive state, but these two are interesting. Democratic clean sweep followed by massive spending, will hit U.S. dollar's value. We know the dollar index is directly correlated to gold and silver. And this isn't a theory. This could almost be a scientific equation. That's how literal this is. When the dollar index is high, gold and silver are low. When the dollar index is low, gold and silver are high. Now, remember that the dollar index is low. That is a for sure fire sign or reason to put gold and silver at higher prices. So when we are overspending, putting together these massive stimulus packages, that's hurting the dollar. So if we know that there's going to be more spending programs, more stimulus, and it's going to hurt the value of the dollar, then we literally already know that gold and silver prices will go higher just from the what this pandemic has done and what people are trying to do to save the economy. So that is a very, very bullish sign, and that's a surefire uh, sign right there that silver will be and gold will be rising in price, to say the least. Two, a huge surge in solar panel demand for silver, right? Solar panels, photovoltaics, especially if Biden wins green energy revolution. People trying to go green, bring this solar panel stuff into the limelight and put it in the spotlight. But we could take it a step further. There's also 5G technology and electric vehicles and many more things along with solar panel demand, which is going to push the demand for silver much higher in the next 5 years. So Goldman's bullishness has now been followed by a note from Citi saying that silver price will hit $40 per ounce over the next 12 months, compared with Thursday's $24.70 ounce. Now, we see the patterns right here. This is from 2015 to 2020. This is the first time silver broke above 20 or $22 even. Last time we saw 20, or I guess above $20 was the July 2016 high of $21. And before that, it's a while. I mean, you got to think back, 2011 was the last time we even saw like a real strong number for silver. And we could go into why this is so similar today than it was back then. It's almost like a mirror, right? $1 billion stimulus packages back then, $1 trillion today. A lot of similarities, but it is more extreme and more severe today. Citi even concedes that $50 an ounce or $100 an ounce are not out of the question in the coming years. And it really isn't. Like I just said, $1 billion stimulus packages led to a $50 silver price in 2011. Now we have $1 trillion stimulus packages and a global pandemic on our hands. So if that led to $50 silver back then, imagine how much more extreme. They didn't have a global recession back or global pandemic back then. They didn't have the U.S. dollar so weak countries are opting out of it, exposed from this pandemic. They didn't have all this stuff. They didn't have $1 trillion stimulus packages. Things are a lot more extreme. If you want to talk about extreme silver prices, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're living in extreme times. So Citi's not talking politics. And that's really why I knew I was gonna make this video to share with you guys, because most people are talking politics of the reasoning behind silver's price rising. Citi isn't talking politics. That's a good thing, because politics you don't want to rely on, because it happens every 4 years. What about next year, year after, when things blow over? There's a lot going on, and regardless of if it's just one or two things, there's so many things coming up that make sense for silver. We're not just saying this for no reason, folks. We're not just saying gold and silver are valuable because they're shiny. We're not just saying this because we have some weird hobby or passion that we just hope, we're just cold fisting it, just hoping that prices. No, we have real reasoning, and there's a lot of different reasons. And if you want to compare stocks, Bitcoin, real estate, precious metals, I could name 20 different things right now. Probably 20 different things or reasons that silver could and probably will explode or rise in price over the next 5 years. I could probably literally list 20 different things. What else can you do that with? Stock markets, they depend on the economy. Bitcoin depends upon so many things, right? Real estate is that's such a messy place to be in. Gold and silver is the only safe thing. I mean, regardless of the economy staying bad, getting worse, or recovering, silver is going to benefit from that. Whether gold skyrockets or not, silver is going to benefit from that. Whether whoever wins the election, silver is going to benefit from that. As silver demand increases and the production drastically decreases, silver is going to benefit from that. The gold to silver ratio it's going to equalize again, and that's going to put silver benefiting as the ratio lowers. I mean, there's so many things. We also have, this all started from the U.S.-China trade negotiations, which still is in murky waters. I mean, we have a recession/depression. We have these protests. And anytime there's controversy, uncertainty, fear in the economy, silver, safe haven metal. I'm sure if one person wins and there's a lot of chaos and controversy like 4 years ago, it's going to put the markets even higher. Stimulus packages, $1 trillion, hurting the dollar index. Silver's going to benefit from that. Electric vehicles, 5G technology, silver, the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. Silver's going to benefit from that. That's just to say a couple things. There's so many other reasons why as well. You couldn't do that with any other investment. If you just heard all those reasonings and you still think silver isn't the most profitable investment that makes the most sense, then you really must be extremely ignorant or just just not thinking rational. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. Blatantly obvious. However, City's not talking politics. So, its view is based on increases in investor demand on the precious metal side and a rebound in global industrial activity. This is what I've been saying on this channel the whole time. Everyone's looking at silver demand increasing from an industrial standpoint, which is good. That's going to definitely play into silver's favor. But there's also another side that people are forgetting. Yes, big business, yes, 5G, yes, electric vehicles, yes, solar panels, big business companies are going to be investing, but also, as the price rises, everyday investors like you and I are also going to start wanting a slice of the silver pie, and that's even more money, and it could be even more than this big business money. I mean, anytime silver starts to rise or rally, and it gets above that $20 range, people have the proof in the pudding, and they start investing. It's like a domino effect, especially from the Bitcoin boom. People see that investing can actually be worth your time and money, especially now than ever. This is the second chance people got that missed out on Bitcoin, so they're also paying attention, especially with apps like Robinhood that make it extremely easy, convenient to invest. So, silver has been something to watch in recent months in a bull phase, outpacing gold. In the pullback phase, again outpacing gold, but this time on the downward move. Goldman's advice seems to have turned things around. At the New York close on Thursday, silver over the past 30 days had risen by 1.3% against gold's 0.26. Silver is much more volatile. You can hate it or love it. You can capitalize off of it, or you can lose money from it. Glass half full, glass half empty. Good investor would take the volatility and use it to their advantage. A bad investor would lose a lot of money off of that. That's a whole nother video for itself, and it actually just sparked a very good video that I'm going to have to do soon. Gold to silver ratio has edged up again. That was a dramatic change from Monday's close, with gold down 2.36% over the 30 days and silver's price declining by 8.9%. And that's the volatility again. Silver is more volatile. It's like gold on steroids. Higher highs, lower lows. You see how it says gold is up, or silver's up 1.3 against gold's 2.26, and then silver's down 8.9 against gold's 2.36. It hits higher highs and lower lows. It's like gold, but to a more extreme on the upside and downside. Yet, measured by the gold to silver ratio, things are improving for silver, but rather slowly. At Monday's New York close, the ratio was 78-1. Thursday's it was 77-1. So that means 78 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. In August, the ratio managed to get down to 70-1, but has edged up a little, and that means that gold has brought back a little bit of its side. When the gold to silver ratio is going down, that means that silver is outpacing gold. When the gold to silver ratio is high, that means gold's outpacing silver. We saw it at 125-1 in March. That was when silver was $11, and that was the lowest or cheapest silver's ever been compared to gold's price in history throughout 5,000 years. 5,000 years, a couple months ago, we saw something that has never happened ever within gold and silver, the gold and silver market. It's pretty crazy. So silver bugs, at least it's going in the right direction. Just keep in mind that in March this year, the ratio blew out to 124-1, which I was just talking about. So Uh, Exploration and mining for silver in Mexico, briefly disrupted by this pandemic, appears to be getting back in full swing. To judge by the flow of the announcements coming out of the Toronto Exchange, new products coming up among the latest silver coin issues being the Vatican's 10 silver coin depicting Mother Earth, 32-gram silver coin minted in Beijing, commemorating China's entry into the Korean War in 1950 and depicting its troops crossing the Yalu River toward North Korea. Perhaps not the most diplomatic silver coin issue of 2020 given its current East Asia tension. Also taking advantage of the silver rebound was the U.S. Mint. Last week it raised prices on its silver coins. Not all of it's silver. It was mainly their sets and series. America the Beautiful, some of their proof stuff, right? They're not just upping the ante on the 1 ounce silver American Eagles, the plain bullion coin, like most people thought. It's a lot of their weirder stuff that no one really invests into anyways, and that's going to be interesting because that's already a pretty small market. There's very compared to like American Eagles or Pandas or Kookaburras or Queen's Bee series. Compared to that, the America that I guess there's probably a fairly decent market for it. Maybe it's just because I'm not interested, so I don't really see the whole side of it. But I know it is going to be a lot harder nowadays if they're upping the prices for people to make money or for people to even be interested in it. So the U.S. Mint also clearly thinks investor demand for silver will remain strong, slapping on increase in some cases for the second time this year. The presidential silver medals will rise $19 to $65. The America the Beautiful 5 ounce uncirculated coin will go from $50 to $229. End of World War II 75th anniversary gets a price hike of $29 to $75. Imagine if you're someone that owned or got a lot of these before the price hike. Imagine, look at that return. But doesn't mean that someone's going to pay $229. Doesn't mean someone's going to pay $65, right? And that's the scary part. Something is only worth as much as someone's willing to give you for it. I could sit here and tell you that my PF70 Ultra Cameo Moon Festival Panda is worth $300 all day. Limited mintage of 5,000. Proof Ultra Cameo, Proof 70, perfect condition. 5,000, even a smaller minted, smaller amount, or PF70. A lot of them are gem proof. That coin is like no other. It's more beautiful. It's one of the most collectible, especially out of pandas. Coins are worth $300. But if no one's willing to pay me $300 for it, is that coin really worth $300? It's a good question. According to the Silver Institute, silver bullion coin sales rose 65% over the first time in 9 months. Goldmans buy silver trigger by the U.S. election. Goldman argues that investors should underweight the U.S. dollar and switch silver positions, and that's kind of what we talked about. The polls are showing an increasing lead for Democratic candidate Joe Biden, the election of whom Goldman fears will send the greenback back to its 2018 lows. And if that happens, it's going to only push silver higher. But that could be bad for the economy. The firm has great doubts about the two factors that could save the U.S. dollar, the re-election of President Trump, coupled with news on the pandemic vaccine. By the way, did you guys hear that a 14-year-old actually found a possible cure for that? It's crazy. 14-year-old. Again, if the polls are right, then the Democratic Party will control the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And Goldman's view is that the Democrats will unleash huge spending programs unimpeded by opposition Congress, saying, they're just going to go out and just give everyone money, try to help everything, regardless of the consequences. But the thing is, that money's coming from somewhere. Yeah, it's great for the people, especially the unemployed and stuff, but that money's coming from somewhere. And in the long run, it sounds great right now in the short term, but if you look at the bigger picture in the long term, it's probably going to hurt us a lot. But you got to weigh the pros and the cons, right? Also, one might say amazingly, Goldman is also recommending shorting the U.S. dollar against the Mexican peso. And that's interesting. The weaker U.S. dollar, of course, would boost precious metals appeal, which has been struggling of late. And we talked about this massive solar boost could send silver demand soaring. And that's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. It's not as good. It's not going to be as big as people thought. They found a way to actually make silver or use like 15% of the silver they were intending to do. But that I don't think that's gonna hurt the price too much because there still is electric vehicles, solar panels, and 5G towers. There's a lot of things. Plus the single-handed people like you and I, investor demand is also going to be there. So silver demand is still going to be extremely high, regardless of if they found a way to use less silver. But they're talking about solar installations will have increased by 50% over the 2018 level. They're so, and this is on a global scale. Biden has compromised if elected to initiate $2 trillion to move renewable energy, which would require 500 million additional solar panels over the next 5 years. Over the next 5 years, that's for 5G technology and electric vehicles as well. The next 5 years, demand for silver is going to be extremely high. So if we have a shortening supply, a diminishing supply, but this hugely rapidly rising demand, it's only going to be it's going to be bad for silver, but it's going to hurt the price. It's going to be bad because there's going to be no silver to be bought. Silver is going to be so scarce that the prices might spike extremely high, but hopefully you have enough silver by then to be selling it to the people that need it. So I thought this was a great video. Once again, a lot of different stuff. I'm not going to go into this because this video is pretty long already, but talking about how silver investment demand nearly triples. And it's only going to get higher, like we were just talking about in this article. A lot of signs showing that demand is only going to keep rising. So a lot of good stuff happening. If you've stuck around this long, hopefully you see, I mean, I can almost guarantee you can see why we say invest in silver. You can see why my name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer. I mean, both of those, either or, is a great investment, way better than anything else. Silver just has more potential, more opportunity, more benefits, and more things going for it than gold, in my opinion. Gold does have its advantages for some, but that's a separate video, right? So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was educational, informational, entertaining, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new because I post daily videos, 2 to 3 videos a day, every single day, keeping you guys in the loop of what's happening. So you got to be subscribed. We just passed 33.1 thousand subscribers. I cannot thank you guys enough. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon.